Hello, new friends, and welcome to Storytime. I'm here at the Bozeman Public Library, and today I'm welcoming you to Storytime with Rin. R-I-N. Rin, that's me. So you might have seen me before around Bozeman because usually I drive on the Bookmobile with my friend Weston and I deliver books to people around town who can't come to the library. But today I'm going to share a story with you instead. I'm very excited. So before we start reading, I really like to start story times with a song. So I'm going to start singing and you can join in when you think that you know the words. Even before you know the words, you can still do the motions with me. First, we're going to be clapping. So my storytime song goes like this. We clap and say hello, we clap and say hello. With our friends at story time, we clap and say hello. Let's try that one more time and you can try to sing along with me. We clap and say hello, we clap and say hello. With our friends at story time, we clap and say hello. I think that we could do the song one more time, but maybe with something other than clapping. What could we do? What do you think we could do? I think I heard someone say wave. We wave and say hello, we wave and say hello. With our friends at story time, we wave and say hello. Well, friends, thank you for singing along with me. So families, while I read the story that I'm going to share today, I'm going to ask a few questions. Friends, you can either answer the question, you can tell me the answer, or families, you can pause the video and talk about the questions together as a family. So the story that I am going to share today is called Puddle Pug. And this story is by Kim Norman and illustrated by Keika Yamaguchi. So I'd like to say thank you to Kim Norman and Keika Yamaguchi for sharing this story with us. And I'd also like to say thank you to Sterling Children's Books, which is the publisher. They're the ones that make sure we can actually see the book and hold the book. They help make the book. So looking at the cover of Puddle Pug, what do you think this story might be about? I notice there's an animal on the cover, on the front cover, and there he is again on the back cover, and again on the back cover. His name is Percy. Percy the pug. A pug is a special kind of dog. Maybe some of you have a pug at home. It looks to me like Percy is playing in some puddles. And puddle is also in the title of the book. So maybe this book is about a pug, a dog, playing in some puddles. The end papers also show Percy playing in some puddles. These are called the end papers. They come before the story starts. Sometimes the end papers give clues about what will happen in the story. Do you see any other animals besides Percy? I see a snail, and I see a turtle. I wonder if there are any more. Oh, I think I see another snail. Puddle Pug by Kim Norman and illustrated by Keika Yamaguchi. Percy was a puddle pug. He loved puddles of every sort. Swamp puddles, Stomp, Puddles! Ready for a romp, Puddles. Foggy Puddles, froggy Puddles, deeper than a doggy, Puddles. Percy loved puddles so much, he put them on a map so he could remember where to find them. All of Percy's puddles were pleasing, but he had yet to find the perfect puddle. Some were nearly perfect, like this one, and this one, and this one. But something was always missing. What do you think was missing from Percy's puddles? It seemed like he had lots of puddles. Some were muddy, some had water. But what was missing? Maybe the pictures can give you some clues. How do you think Percy feels in these pictures? Yeah, I think he might look a little sad because I notice that his eyes look sad and his body language, how he's moving his body, looks a little sad too. Who is Percy looking at in these pictures? Yeah, he's looking at the other animals, the mice and the chicks. Oh, that might be a duck, some kind of bird. It doesn't look like he can play with them. Maybe a friend is missing. One day, Percy heard splashing on the other side of the fence. He peered through, and there it was, the perfect puddle. It was big, it was brown, and it was oh so friendly. Percy couldn't resist. He squeezed under the fence and splash! Ooh, cool brown water. Ah, squishy, swishy mud. It was puddle paradise. Percy loved his new puddle. But his puddle did not love him back. How do you think the pig feels? Yeah, I'm looking at her face. It looks like maybe she's a little angry. She's scowling. That means when you put your eyebrows down when you're mad. Percy couldn't get that perfect puddle out of his head. On his daily walk, he couldn't enjoy the puddles he did find. Too buggy, too sluggy, too tiny, too spiny, too smelly, too yelly, too endless, too friendless. Look at that sign. It says pigs only. Pigs only. Only one puddle was just right, and it was behind that fence. Maybe I could blend in, Percy thought. Mama's eye twitched. Percy tried sharing a tasty treat. Mama's nose twitched. He even tried an underwater route. Mama's tail twitched. And she pitched Percy out of the puddle. The next day, Percy felt a drop of water on his head. Oh, good. Rain means more puddles, he thought. But then the wind began to whistle through the branches of the old tree. The whistle grew to a howl. Overhead, Percy heard a different sound. Crack! Pigs and Pug scattered as the tree crashed into the willow. By sundown, Mama Pig had found all but one of her piglets. Where was teeny tiny Petunia? Petunia was too tiny to be gone so long. Where would a too tiny pig go? Percy wondered. Where do you think a too tiny pig would go? Maybe. Let's keep reading and we'll see what Percy thinks. He stared at his puddle map. Then he remembered the perfect place for a too tiny pig in the too tiny puddle. When Percy pranced through the fence with Petunia on his back, Mama's whole body twitched with piggly jiggly joy. Percy is a puddle pug. He loves puddles of every sort. Blue puddles, dew puddles, thick as turtle stew puddles, wide puddles, tide puddles, even partly dried puddles. But there's one perfect puddle he loves the most. And Percy's puddle loves him right back. And here are the end papers again. Friends, thank you for sharing that story with me. Why do you think the Mama Pig let Percy come play in the puddle? Yeah, I think maybe because Percy helped her a few times, and the most important time was helping to find Petunia. I think that helped Percy make friends with the Mama Pig. What do you do when you want to make a new friend? What are some things you can do or some things you can say when you want to make a new friend with somebody? Yeah, all of those are good ideas. So when you want to make a new friend with somebody, the first thing you can do is introduce yourself. You can tell them your name. Maybe you could ask if they want to play with you. Maybe you could share a toy. You could ask what their name is. Those are all good ways to start making a new friend. And maybe you can come up with a few more ideas too. Friends, I have just one more thing I want to share with you before we go today. So I have two puppets. Percy the Puddle Pug and Mama Pig. I made these puppets for this video to share with you. So Percy the Puddle Pug and Mama Pig were two of the main characters in the book Puddle Pug. Now, Puddle Pug was about a few different things, but one thing that it was about was how Percy was looking for a friend, and Percy the Puddle Pug made friends with Mama Pig. Now, how did Percy make friends with the Mama Pig? Yeah, he helped find Petunia, the little piglet, after the storm. So after Percy helped find Petunia, Mama Pig knew that he was a good friend who would help her in times of trouble when she needed help. Did Percy make friends with Mama Pig right away? No, he didn't. Remember in the book, first he tried to come into the puddle and she was angry. Her eye twitched and her nose twitched and her tail twitched. And then she kicked Percy out of the puddle, even when he tried sharing a tasty treat. So he tried to share first, and that didn't really help make friends with Mama Pig. Now, families, puppets are really powerful tools that you can use with your children, and they're also really fun to play with. So puppets can be used for many different things, but one way that I like to use puppets is to practice social situations with kids. So just like Puddle Pug, the book, was about a character making friends with another character, you can play with puppets so that your child can practice making friends in new social situations. So, for example, with Percy the Puddle Pug and Mama Pig, you can practice verbalizing how kids are thinking and feeling. And you can also practice the kinds of things you can say and the kinds of things you can do in new social situations to help them prepare for those social situations in the real world. So, for example, if I wanted to do a little puppet show or a puppet play about making new friends or being nervous about making new friends, I could do that with a character like Percy the Puddle Pug or Mama Pig, or really any puppets. It doesn't have to be puppets that are directly related to a certain story. So I'm going to start with Mama Pig. I'm a pig. My name is Mama Pig. I have lots of piglets that I love, but I'm a little afraid of new people because I don't know if they'll be nice to me or if they'll be scary. My name is Percy the Puddle Pug. I very much want to make a friend. I don't know how to make friends, but I'm going to try. What is that? It is a puddle, and it has friends in it. I'm going to go see what's going on in the puddle. Excuse me, dog. My name is Percy. Well, Percy, I don't feel like playing right now. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I'll come back later and try again. Thank you, Percy, for listening to me. So that was one thing that you could do from Mama Pig's perspective. You could play, how do you tell someone you're feeling uncomfortable and maybe you don't want to do something right now without actually kicking them out of your puddle. So that's one thing Mama Pig could have done instead of pitching Percy out of the puddle. Another thing that Percy could have done is to maybe introduce himself right away and then share or offer to help. So, for example, he could come into the puddle like this. Hello, my name is Percy. I am a pug. What's your name? I'm Mama Pig. I'm a little afraid of new people. How are you today? Oh, I am quite well. Would you like to share a treat with me? Oh, yes, that sounds nice. So that's another puppet play you could do that's related to this story. So friends, now that we've read a story together and you saw a little puppet play that I did, we are going to go because we've been on this video story time for quite a while. There's one last thing I like to do at the end of every story time, and you can say this poem with me. It's a poem. It goes like this. Big books, little books, short books, tall books, wide books, skinny books. We love them all. All right, friends, thank you again for joining Storytime with Rin, and I hope to see you soon, either on the Bookmobile or maybe at curbside at the library. Have a good day. Families, if you would like to try some finger puppets yourself but don't have any at home, the library has enough for 7 families to check them out at a time. We have 14 puppets and each family could take 2. So if you would like to borrow those, you can give the children's department a phone call.